Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Rush Racing League, Division number 5 here, round 15, at the home circuit of this fantastic league. We are here at Melbourne, at Albert Park Street Circuit for round number 15 of Season 9. It's going to be a fast and furious one here today. We have a full qualifying followed by our usual 29-lap race around this circuit. And it is a tight and narrow circuit, but some really good overtaking opportunities. And there's always a chance of inclement weather. My name is Patrick Coleman, aka Ruckus, and I'll be your host and commentator for today's race. And without any further ado, let's just go ahead and jump straight to the circuit. We do have about 18 drivers lined up and ready to go here for today's event. So it should be good racing here. We do have a handful of reserves taking part tonight. We'll go through those really quickly as we go ahead and load into the session. So, we have a bunch, and I mean a bunch of reserves here tonight. So, let's just go ahead and check in, and let's just go ahead and see who we got here today. Quiet Cake is here. We have Iraq Lobster, Wintercat, who is subbing in for Alpine, and then the TP of Red Bull David will be our next reserve driver that we'll be talking about. Hunter is going to go, or Hunter was scheduled to potentially be a reserve, but that has since been reversed, and it is the usual Mercedes roster. Liam is, I believe, yep, so the Div 6 driver Liam is in for Williams. Donut's in for Ferrari. Jackal is in for McLaren. And then Milano, who I believe is actually, I don't see Milano, so maybe we don't have him in here, unless that might be Iraq Lobster. But those are the reserves that we have here tonight. And we'll go ahead and run on board with one of the McLarens. We'll figure out which one this is here pretty short. I believe it is going to be Jackal. That'll be the first car onto the track here. So here we go. Good to see everybody here in the Twitch chat. I'm seeing some love here for the Mercedes. And we'll see if Mercedes can go ahead and get a good result here tonight. Taking a look at some standings here in Division number 5. We'll go ahead and just talk about the driver standings right now. Mercedes does lead the driver standings with Dutch Verstappen having 213 points. And Quiet Cake is in P3 in the driver standings with 140 points. And then there is the driver of Greedo kind of splitting both of them with 156. Taking a look at our Constructors Championships. It is no surprise that considering that two of their drivers are within the top 3 in this championship, that Mercedes does have the lead in the Constructors right now for Div 5. 338 points to Ferrari's 285, and Alpine having 284. So Alpine and Ferrari is going to be a fun battle to watch here today. Because, whoever finishes ahead of the other will go ahead and jump into P2 in the Constructors here. And then, once again, just to remind everybody about the overalls here. Aston Martin is currently in the lead of the overalls after Coda. The standings haven't been quite updated yet for Austria, but before Austria, it is Aston Martin with 1,374 points, followed by McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, Williams, Alpine, Kick Sauber, VCarb, and Haas in the overall. So, it's coming to a head here. We are just about to wrap up the season, as now Jackal is going to go ahead and make his way on through. The current Div 6 championship leader, there's a good amount of rumors that he may be jumping up to Div 5 starting in Season 10 or Season X. I'm not sure how we're going to go, but we're probably just going to call it Season 10. But we'll see if Jackal, because Jackal was actually able to out-qualify Dutch Verstappen last time at the Red Bull Ring, so maybe he's going to definitely try to do that again. And if he does that again, then it's definitely going to be a case of Jackal likely getting promoted next season. It might be a bit too late in the season to promote him now, because after this we only have 3 rounds to go in our championship. Jacko's come across the line. He will come across the line and he'll set the first fastest time of the session with a 1:16.5. That is going to be the time to beat here to kick things off. It is a bank lap though, so there's still a lot of time still left to find here on the track. We're going to go up with current championship runner-up of Greedo, who's going to go ahead and make his way through the last couple of corners here at this Melbourne Park or Albert Park Street circuit here in Melbourne, Australia. Rush Racing League's home track is finally here, and we're going to go ahead and see how these drivers tackle on for probably a majority of the field. It is a home race for, I believe, probably, I think almost everyone in this field is celebrating their home race here this time around. So it's always fun to have a home race, but it also gives you a lot of pressure because you want to do good at your home track. Like myself, I wanted to, like, if I were to compete here at Rush, I would really want to do good at Miami because that is my home race, and I know, unfortunately, before he got sick, or I think he had connection issues, but H-Town, he wanted to do good in Coda 2 weeks ago because that was his home track as well, so everybody always wants to do really good at their home track. Currently, we're riding on board with the driver, currently P3 in the driver's standings, and he's going to come across the line. Where will he go? He'll come fourth in the qualifying session as of right now. It was just a banker lap though, so nothing. I mean, these times are going to trickle down. We might see times close to the 1:15s. We'll just have to see. We'll actually go ahead and put a. We're going to put a very simple prediction out. All the tracks have been selected, so we're not going to get super crazy with the tracks, but we're going to go ahead and see, because actually, we'll actually wait on this one. We're going to wait on that prediction because it is a full quality this time around, so we will lose P16 to P18 after this session, and then it'll be the top 15 going into Q2, and then from Q2 to Q3, it will be down to the top 10 drivers on track. Daz right now, the kick salver, is going to go ahead and make his way through the circuit here, having a bit of a snap coming out of turn 10, and that is the lap invalidated for the Sauber. Bit of a rough time for the Sauber to kick things off, but you still got plenty of chances to go ahead and get a good lap time on the board, as now it is the current championship leader of Dutch Verstappen going ahead and doing it out lap right now. So we'll have to see what his time is going to be. But in the meantime, we do have Husey going ahead and making his way out on track now. He's going to go ahead and be the second McLaren to set a fast lap here. So we'll just see if he can hold on, if he can go ahead and get close to his teammate tonight. Because Jackal is currently up into first right now by 2.3 tenths of a second ahead of Symphonic, who is trying to put in a really good result for Haas, a team that, especially looking at the overalls, desperately needs good results. They're the only team in the overalls, at least as of now, to have less than 1,000 points. They only have 829 points, at least as of the Circuit of the Americas. Once again, the Red Bull Ring stats haven't been officially finalized just yet, so we will be waiting for those. We might potentially have them around the time of the Spanish Grand Prix, which is next week, and then we'll bring you guys all that information. As now we see Husey, the McLaren drivers are doing pretty good here tonight. Only half a tenth separates the two Papaya cars, and it is a Papaya 1-2 at the moment. But I see Dutch Verstappen is setting purple sectors, so he might have something to say about this. He might have a bit of a challenge here. He might try to challenge the order and prove why he is the championship leader here in Division 5. Getting out qualified by the Division 6 championship leader is definitely something he wants to avoid at all costs. I mean, it happened last time out of the Red Bull Ring, and he's definitely going to make sure it doesn't happen again, or just give it a go. He comes across the line. He's only up into third, so it's still about 2 tenths away from Jackal and Husey. So I mean, Dutch Verstappen's still in a pretty good spot. I mean, Jacko isn't going to really be in a place to challenge him for a championship, considering that he has been pretty much primarily been in Div 6. But, yeah, still, once again, just being out-qualified by the Div 6 championship leader. Bit of a rough one there for Verstappen, but he's a quick driver. He has a pretty good shot at bouncing back. He's not in the worst qualifying spot ever of this qualifying session. Or to wrap up now. But also, even then, as long as you're within the top 15, you move on to the next one. So, I mean, he could just be setting a time good enough to ensure that he's going to go ahead and progress to the next session. He might not be even attempting a full push lap. David's going to come across the line. He'll be 1.1 seconds back from the pole time here, as there's a few of the drivers who are currently making their laps. Iraq Lobster has invalidated. We'll check back in with Daz. We'll see if Daz has been able to improve his time here, as he's going to go ahead and continue to try to get a good lap in. He had a decent-ish lap earlier, but he went across the track limits and got himself a penalty, or in the sense of he just got his time deleted, pretty much. So he'll definitely want to get a good lap on the board here, at least to make it within the top 15. That's pretty much your main goal here in this first session. You want to be within the top 15, so you just got to stay out of the bottom 3 here tonight. And then you will be promoted up into Q2. And then from there, once again, you got to get into the top 10 from Q2 to make it to Q3. So it's pretty much just going to be get a good enough amount of time to stay in. And right now Daz has done exactly that. He has got it up into P8, just a little over a second away from the pole sitter of Jackal, who is currently on top of this current session. Iraq Lobster just not having a great time around this track. He's invalidated again. So now we're going to ride on board with another driver making a substitution here tonight. It is Liam. Liam has been working with Williams for quite some time now, and he made some pretty good headlines in the reserve program races during silly season. And the work that Dito has done in turning this Williams team around has been nothing short of absolutely inspiring. Because taking a look at it, right, I mean, Williams was in a really bad spot at the beginning of the season. Like, they were comfortably last. And now they're up to about 6th or 7th, roughly. So, I mean, the comeback has been pretty great, but it's still all to work for here. And Liam is going to do his best to contribute to that cause. He'll come across the line. It'll be 4.2 seconds off the time, but he still has about another 6 minutes to go ahead and set a faster lap. Might have just been trying to get a feel for the track, trying to test the tires out, as we do see NDNV running the Monza livery for Ferrari. One of the best special liveries in the 2025 Formula 1 season. It's good to see it finally being officialized in this game. You could get it previously via mods, but having an official version is definitely nice. Especially because we could see it here on track. Because mods and stuff are cool, but you can't play online with mods for a lot of obvious reasons, because you're modifying the game files. Even if it is purely cosmetic, it still trips. The surprisingly bulletproof Joplin anti-cheat system, we can nerd out about that a different time. NDV is going to come across the line. He'll say his first time, and it's good enough for P3. So just under a 10th away from Husey and Jackal. So that is a very good lap time indeed there from the Ferrari. And what a lap that was. Absolutely perfect. Well, I guess not quite perfect because he's not on pole, but still very good there for the Ferrari. Very good stuff, as they're still in the hunt to try to grab the overall championship. So Ferrari needs every bit of points that they can muster. Checking in with another reserve driver who has invalidated his lap. So right now the driver is currently in the drop zone with about 4 minutes to go is Wintercat, Donut, and Minmay, which all three of these drivers have yet to actually get a lap on the board alongside Iraq Lobster, who is keeping it clean here so far. And he's going to continue to go ahead and speed around the track and try to go ahead and get the best time humanly possible, because the track does get more and more rubbered in as it goes along. So that is exactly what he is going to do. He's going to try to go ahead and find the grip on this track and absolutely pushes Aston Martin all the way. He's going to try to get back into the top positions here to kind of bolster their chances of remaining in the front of the overalls, because the overalls will switch pretty much very, very quickly. And that's something that's going to be on the mind of all these drivers as the season is wrapping up here. You only got 3 rounds to go after this. You got Spain, you got Canada, and China. The final 3 rounds of the season after Australia here tonight. It'll be about 3 minutes left to go here in the session as Iraq Lobster is going to go ahead and make his way through the final couple of corners. And then he's going to go ahead and come across the line. We'll see where his lap time is going to go ahead and sit. He's going to come across the line. It's going to for P5 on the track. And that's a good result there from Lobster, doing a fantastic job there. So we'll check on board with Minmay, who is on the latter stages of their lap. Just got to go ahead and come through the final few corners and then bring it on home. And we will just kind of have to see how this one plays out, because, I mean, especially now we're down to the final 2.5 minutes of quality, everything could just really get changed up on its head here. So everything is still very, very possible here. We're going to go ahead and take a quick step back just to get some hydration. Be sure to go ahead and get hydrated, guys. Your body will absolutely thank you for hydrating. And we're actually going to ride on board with Donut Gorilla. We'll be right back. And that run has come to tears. The hydration lap was cut a bit early, but Donut Gorilla cutting the front wing off of his Ferrari. Definitely not a great time here. So he is, yeah, he's actually going to be out because he won't have time to set another out lap. So Donut Gorilla is out in Q1 after that massive incident coming through turn 9 and 10, I believe. So that's a very, very rough one for the Ferrari. One Ferrari's in a really good spot. Another one not in a super great spot as Aardvark has actually jumped up to the top of the times. Donut Gorilla has retired from the session. He'll be out. He will be in P18. So we have a few drivers who are still pretty much well within the drop zone, ready to go, and some other drivers in that danger zone. So Liam is about 4 seconds off. He needs to probably shave off about 3 seconds roughly if he wants to go ahead and jump into the second qualifying session with the top 15. So we will see riding on board with the driver who is making his return for the first time since Mexico. It is Wintercat in the Alpine. Gonna go ahead and make his way through now. He's gonna get maybe a little bit of dirty air, but also potentially a tow there from Daz. As now we are seeing some positions being changed here with about 10 seconds to go on the clock in Q1. And this is going to be a fight here between these guys. Wintercat making his way down into Sector 2, going through the split DRS zone. There is only one detection zone for both DRS strips. So pretty much right at the turns 9-10. Even if you made the pass under DRS, you'll have DRS yet again. So good thing for these drivers to kind of think about. And Symphonic has retired. He's in a pretty good spot. Actually, no, he is in a very, very rough spot, actually. I was looking at his teammate. Kumar was in a pretty good spot. Wintercat is going to come through. If he gets a time better than Symphonic, then he's going to demote him here. And he does. Well, he jumps up into 10th. But Quiet Cake is out in Q1. So one of the Mercedes guys is out in Q1. David will be out in Q1 as well. So Symphonic just hanging out by the skin of his teeth. But man, that was a rough one for some of these guys here. So we'll go ahead and read off our drivers who we did lose and drivers who have been eliminated in this first qualifying session. And here we go. The driver that we have lost in this session, we've actually also lost Symphonic as well. So I did miss what happened to Symphonic there, but we have lost Symphonic, Quiet Cake, David, and then Donut Gorilla. Let me see if I can... Oh, DNF, terminal damage. Ooh, so Haas is already up to a bit of an up and down week. So now we are going to go ahead and this time we're going to lose the next 4 cars. So we're going to lose P11 to P14 in this next qualifying session, which we are going to waste no time and jump straight on into. And here we go. The clouds are, they're still there in the sky, but sometimes the clouds can get really stormy and really, really treacherous. As of right now, the sun is still very clearly out, so we will not be seeing any rain, and we have 14 cars ready to go ahead and take to the track here in Q2, and then we have Q3, and then we have 29 laps around the Melbourne street circuit here at Albert Park. A few drivers are already going ahead and getting out onto the circuit. So Jackal will also already be out at this stage with Iraq Lobster. I think he'll be coming out soon-ish, but right now the first driver's out. It is the 2 McLarens, and then Dads will be the first drivers out, as well as the driver currently P2 in the championship of Greedo. And those will be the 4 cars that do go out here to kick things off in this second qualifying session. Another 14 minutes on the clock here for these guys, so these guys will go ahead and get through some laps before going ahead and coming in to get ready for Q3, whoever those top 10 are. We could see some surprises here. Mercedes off to a kind of a mixed bag start. I think that's, you can honestly say that for a lot of the teams that are currently in today's race. Is just kind of a mixed bag, because Haas had a pretty good time. I mean, both cars were into Q2, but then you had terminal damage there for Symphonic, which put him pretty much right at P15. So he would technically escape to Q2, but since he crashed and DNF'd, he'll start pretty much right at P15. Unless somebody gets a massive, massive grid penalty here at this point. So we'll just see how it goes. Good evening, SJ. Good to hear from you, mate. Hopefully your vacation is going absolutely well. Hopefully you guys are having a good time out there in the UK. And as we're having a good time here at Melbourne, as it is the home track of Rush Racing League. And we're going to go ahead and get things rock and roll here with our first batch of fast laps here. And we'll hop on board with the driver who was P2 in the last session, riding with Jackal now. He's going to go in and make his way through sector number 2. And we're going to see how he goes. He was pretty quick, so he was actually quicker than the current Div 5 championship leader of Dutch Verstappen, which was actually kind of the case in the Red Bull Ring as well. So, and time flies, doesn't it? 7 days until you're back from your vacation. I mean, I'm sure you feel refreshed and recharged, as these drivers are going to definitely need to recharge their batteries after they're done with this lap, as Jacko's already burned so much of that battery here. And he's going to make his way across the line. It's going to be a 1:16.9. I thought it was a bit quicker than that, but 1:16.9 to go ahead and kick things off here. And the times are starting to roll in. Greedo does go ahead and jump up to set the fastest time of the session by only 67 hundredths of a second. And that is a very good response there from Greedo, because Greedo, he needs to take advantage of the fact that Dutch Verstappen's qualifying form has really just not been super great in at least last week. It looks like potentially this week as well. Alright, we'll go and try to get Iraq Lobster in, as I am the only comm on duty, so I apologize for interrupting your regularly scheduled programming to go to try to get Iraq an invite. We will get this done as soon as humanly possible. I once again do apologize for this. Alright, I do not see him. Make sure he has me added on EA at ReckusGG on EA. And then we'll check back in here in a few minutes to try to get him back into the session. Right now we're going to go ahead and ride aboard with Liam, who's going to go ahead and get his lap in. And then once his lap's done, we'll go ahead and look for Iraq Lobster's name once again to try to get him an invite so he can join and take part in Q2. And then try to go to get a time good enough to jump into the top 10 shootout. And he's going to go ahead and make his way through the last couple of corners. And that's a big snap and a big spin there for Liam. He's got some damage on that Williams. And now we're going to go ahead and take the time to try to find Iraq Lobster once again. Try to get him into the session. Just double check and make sure I haven't missed his name at any point. Just double checking once again. I don't see him on here, so once again, just make sure that he has me added. Yeah, I still do not see him at the moment. I did try to add everybody while we were getting into, or just before we got the session actually started, while we were all in the lobby, make sure we were getting everybody, but once again, just make sure that he has me added on EA. And yes, I am aware that it would start with a capital I. We'll go to try again here in a moment. We're just going to see how NDNV finishes off his lap. And then we'll go ahead and give it another go. Try to find Iraq Lobster. Try to get him online. And try to get him back into the session. He's going to come across the line. And NDNV will jump up into P3, just 1.2 tenths behind Aardvark and Dutch Verstappen, which Dutch Verstappen did have a really good lap time. We're going to go ahead and give it another attempt here to try to find his name. And we will go ahead and look through and try to find him. This will probably be the last time I'll be able to actually try to do this while we're in this current qualifying session. So hopefully we do find him, and hopefully we're able to get him back in. It's unfortunate because I know he would definitely have the pace to at least get, at bare minimum, get really close to jumping into Q3. And yeah, unfortunately, I just do not see him on this list, so I can't invite someone that I don't see on the list. He has to make sure just make sure he has to be added for the future. And I do. It really is unfortunate that he has been unable to get back into the session. But maybe he'll be able to get back in during the race. We'll just have to see. We're about halfway through, about a little over halfway through Q2. And then we're going to actually, let's see if he comes into pits. He will come into the pits. We're going to go ahead and we'll just see how the rest of this qualifying session goes. There's about 6 minutes left to go here. And it's going to be pretty much fast and furious, especially when we get down to the final 3.5 minutes as per usual, because that's when the track is going to be at the best in that session. So we're going to go ahead and see who's going to make it and who is not going to get there. Right now the cars in the drop zone at the moment are Wintercat, both of the Williams, and then Old Footy Bender. They're the drivers currently in the hot seat at the moment. And we will see if any of them can make it out of the hot seat before we jump into Q3. Jacko is currently on another lap as well, so the current Division 6 championship leader has a pretty good form here in Div 5 as well, so once again there's a very good chance he's probably going to get promoted as he's making his way through the final little chicane there. He's going to come across the line, turn on the afterburners, and is he going to improve? To the top of the timetables he will by almost a half a second. That is an impressive time there for Jackal. A 1:16.093 is now the time to beat. So what about Bender? Now here's the thing too, is with Iraq unable to rejoin the session, he has pretty much been relegated down to P14. So we're going to lose P11 to P14. Leaving us with just the top 10, so it'll be interesting to see who can go ahead and make it through this session. And actually at this point really one driver who has yet to set time will definitely make it in, but the others on the other hand, I mean, it's gonna be a fight. It's still gonna be an absolute scrap just to see who can go ahead and get these positions. Bender is gonna go ahead and make his way through the last couple of corners here, and then he's gonna go ahead and see where he sits in terms of the timetables. His teammate is currently up in the P8. How close can he get to him? Coming across the line now, and it is a time good enough for P5. So actually he'll jump his teammate. That's a good lap there from the Racing Bull. That's one that he most certainly needed as the Alpine of Wintercat. Remember, Ferrari and Alpine are separated by a singular point. Alpine trails just by that one singular point. And right now Alpine is in a really good spot because you have one Ferrari that's out, and then the other one that has just been outdone in the session by both Alpine. So Aardvark and Winter is actually a reserve driver for this team, and the reserve drivers putting in some good work as always. And now it is down to the two Williams to see where they sit in this hierarchy here. Daz and Minmeh and Kumar are probably the three drivers who are most likely in the hot seat. So Donut Gorilla has disconnected from the session, and we will try to get him back here. We're going to get him back here as soon as possible. We'll actually try to do that real quick. Go ahead, try to get Donut in real quick. We'll see. And while we're looking, we'll see if we can find Lobster as well. I see Donut G12. I think that's a different donut. It might be. If anyone is from that Ferrari team, oh. Okay, so it's under the ends. Gotcha. Alright, we'll try to find that. Yep, there we go. We got him there. And there we go, and Donut Gorilla. So we got two invites going out, so there we go. And now the final times are coming in. Wintercat has retired, Bender has retired. So we will see Lobster's been able to rejoin the session. Unfortunately, a bit. I mean, he'd have to go in and go out now if he wanted a chance to actually get a lap in. Apologies about that, everyone. I actually had something a bit stuck in, I had something stuck in my throat, which is commentator's worst nightmare, but Nishka's worst nightmare right now is the fact that he's invalidated and he doesn't have a time on the board yet. He's in the drop zone. Now Liam is also in the drop zone. Both of these drivers just need to set a time, and then they'll be able to go ahead and get through it. We'll just have to see how these drivers can manage. Kendall Williams escape the drop zone. We'll definitely at least lose Iraq Lobster here, unless he's going to be able to jump out in time. Maybe not. Well, I don't think so at this stage. Yeah, so Iraq Lobster is out in Q2, but I think he's got the pace to at least try to claw back into the top 10. We'll just have to go ahead and see. Husey has retired from the session as well. He's feeling pretty comfortable in his P6 position. So Nishka's done. He is out. So the question is Liam going to go ahead and get out? Is it going to be Liam, or is it going to be Daz who is going to be dropping out, or somebody else entirely? He's going to go ahead and make it across the line. He just needs to set time, and he will escape. Liam is going to go ahead and try to get it across the line here. And it's going to be good enough for P2, actually. So Liam is 100% safe. So actually, Minmet and Daz will be the drivers dropped out of the session. So Greedo just on the cusp there. And man, and Aardvark now jumping to the top of the times by 19 hundredths of a second. I mean, man, these guys are really just making things really, really close here. And this is just for qualifying. If these guys are this competitive in qualifying, then the race itself should be absolutely amazing. As we are officially wrapping up Q2. And yeah, everybody is done. So we have lost Daz, Minmet, Lobster, and Nishka. Those will be the drivers that we have lost here in the session. Iraq, due to server issues, was unable to set time, and Nishka just wasn't able to string a lap together. So, and then it is Minmeh and Daz who are also out at the second hurdle here in Q2. We're just waiting for everything just to kind of reset here as drivers are making their way into the pits now, and then we're going to go ahead and get ready for Q number 3 for our top 10 shootout. So here we go. Once again, we have lost Daz, Minman, Lobster, and Nishka. The latter two unable to set a time. And that is going to be very, very rough. Got disconnected mid-lap. Oh, that's even more heartbreaking for Minmeh. Absolutely unfortunate there for the Racing Bulls. And yeah, I mean, it just feels like EA servers just haven't really been the same since like 2 updates ago. Or 2 or 3 updates ago, it just really hasn't been the same. Servers have just been kind of a bit of an iffy one. It's been problematic for quite a few. It's not even a Rush specific issue. It's been a lot of leagues here. As now the clouds are a bit heavier, so now this kind of leads to the question of, are we going to see a rain-affected Q3? Not likely, because I think we would have heard about it from someone, but I think in general this could be a really interesting qualifying session. We have both Alpines and both Haas's, or sorry, both McLarens. I don't know where Haas came from, but yeah, so those are the only teams with both drivers into Q3. And then we have ND and V, Kumar, Greedo, Liam, actually, and yeah, also Dutch and Bender. So we have 8 teams represented here, or actually, no, 6 teams represented here in the top 10. So a good spread here. The beauty of running the the equal conditions or the equal performance. There we go. That's the phrase I was looking for. The equal performance here in league racing. So we'll just have to see how these drivers go ahead and manage here. The sun is pretty much blocked off by the clouds. That could mean a sign of rain, although I am not exactly. I really do not think there's going to be rain here, especially because there's still a good amount of sun on a good amount of the track. And also, if there is rain, then the drivers aren't even going to bother braving it out unless they haven't set a lap yet. So if everybody gets like a banker lap and then it rains, everyone's probably just going to come into the pits and just retire from that point. But we will see how this final stage of qualifying is going to go. Alpines are looking pretty red hot right now. So I think the Alpine team is definitely going to be the team to watch coming up here. Now we're going to turn our attention back to Jackal, who's about to go ahead and begin his flying lap. It'll be the first lap of the entire session. He does have Garrido just behind him. And once again, this is going to be really interesting. Actually, it looks like Garrido has actually kind of pulled off and waited a bit here. Now, here's the thing, is that you can get a pretty good tow on some parts of the track, but other parts you can also get some really rough, dirty air, especially through turns 9 and 10. And we're going to go ahead and try to invite him back real quick. After Jackal's lap, we're going to go ahead and try to invite Minmay back into the session. But once we get into the race, I won't be able to invite anyone, unfortunately. I'll be able to do it during qualify. But once we get through Jackal's lap, I will try to go ahead and get another invite out to Minmay. And then hopefully that'll be the end of the server shenanigans tonight. Because, I mean, I know the people watching the stream just want to watch the action, and I'm sure the drivers are also equally as frustrated. Because, I mean, there's a chance that this Q3 could have looked pretty different with if the server shenanigans didn't ensue. But Jacko now going to go ahead and, oh, he was able to get in anyway. I think his teammate was able to invite him. So, well, hey, that works out. That works out pretty nicely. And Jacko was at a 1:16.3. His best time on the entire day was a 1:16.0, I believe. So, I would try to invite Minmay, but I think he's already been added back into the session by his teammate. It's a good thing to have a teammate in Q3. So Wintercat now is going to go ahead and try to get a good lap on the board. He wants to go and try to get as close as he can to Jackal. And he's going to make it across the line. He will actually jump up into provisional pole position with a time of a 1:16.074. So very good lap time there from the Alpines. These guys have just really been taking to the circuit very, very nicely. As now we have the current championship leader, who's going to go ahead and come across the line. We'll see where he'll jump. Up into P3 on this banker with a 1:16.5. And he's going to definitely want to give it another go here later on in the session when the track has a bit more rubber on it. NDNV currently on L lap now as it sits. We'll actually go ahead and jump on board with Kumar. And never mind, Kumar is invalidated, so we'll go back to NDNV, who's just about to begin his lap. And we'll actually let you guys listen to the sights and sounds of the Monza Ferrari ripping it through Melbourne. And we'll be right back. Alright, so never mind. Never mind. We're going to take this time and try to get Minmay into the session. invite has been sent. And as we are about to go ahead and do the lap, NDNV decided to pretty much just slow right on down. So I guess it's good time as any to try to get Minmay back into the session. Let me know if that worked, Minmay. Hopefully it did. Hopefully you'll be able to join the race. But yeah, we'll see. I'm curious about the weather because there's a chance that the weather might come into effect in the race itself because it is looking kind of dark out there, a little bit cloudy here. As Minmay has been able to rejoin the session, which is very, very good. And now we have Greedo going in and trying to make his way through this track. He wants to try to outdo Dutch Verstappen here because remember, these two are still locked in into a championship battle here. So these guys really need to try to push with all their might to try to stay one step ahead of the other. And that is how you win championships, my friends. You got to be consistent. You got to pretty much outmatch your opponent step by step. And you do that and you will win the championship. It is a bit more complicated than that, but that's the kind of the general gist. So we'll see how Greedo does as he's making his way through the sector that we've seen a few people lose their times at, which is sectors 9 or turns 9 and 10. And now he's going to go ahead and make his way through the last couple of corners here. And he's going to go ahead and make it through. He's got 3 more corners left to go, and then we will see where his lap time sits here at the first banker lap of Q3 for the Red Bull. And oh, he's going to go ahead and actually just come into the pits. He went a bit deep there, just ended up into the pits. Now let's see about this Ferrari. We'll see if the Ferrari of NDNV can go ahead and jump up the order. Currently only the top half of the field has the time set. We'll see if the Ferrari can jump into the top 5. There's no more eliminations from qualifying at this stage. It is all just one final top 10 shootout. NDNV jumps up into the top 5. He comes there right in P5. So good lap time there for NDNV. And now this session is actually going to get really, really intense, really, really tight. Drivers are going to ramp up their efforts here. Jacko is already 3/10 quicker than his previous lap time, which would put him into pole position here provisionally. So he just needs to make it stick. Sector 3, especially that chicane, it's a bit easy. We just saw with Greedo to go a bit too deep, and then ultimately that's your lap done and dusted. Jacko come across the line. He'll be the first driver to break into the 115s at 1:15.836 to go ahead and kick off here, and he'll be on provisional pole. Can anyone answer back? Will anybody have an answer to that? I mean, we'll just have to see if Jacko can really hold on to that. The driver who is currently in the lead of the Div 6 Championship is on track to once again out-qualify the Div 5 champion. It happened last week at the Red Bull Ring, and it might just happen here again. So we're going to actually, this time, we're actually going to go ahead and allow you guys to enjoy riding on board with the Visa Cash App Racing Bull, and we're going to take a quick step back, go ahead and get hydrated here as it's going to get really, really intense here through the final 2 minutes of quali. We'll be right back. Alright, so that was a little bit of engine ASMR. We're going to go ahead and actually While everybody's on the outlap, we'll take this time to try to get Donut Gorilla another invite. As now I've also been hit with the communicating with service shenanigans. I mean, it wouldn't be an EA game without something like that happening. Donut has been able to rejoin the session here. We'll be able to get these invites out during quali, but during the race, we will have to focus directly on the race, and we won't be able to send any invites out. So if your driver disconnects during the race, then unfortunately, just because of the circumstances here tonight, that's going to be pretty much all she wrote for that said driver. So hopefully all the servers will go ahead and cooperate with us, and hopefully this will be the last of the connectivity shenanigans. Given it's a EA game, I'm not too sure, but we're gonna go ahead and watch Aardvark as he's gonna go ahead and get ready for, or actually he is currently on his lap. So here we go. We're gonna go ahead and see how he does here. He's going to go ahead and get his way through Sector 1, and Bender has retired. He'll retire in P6 at the moment. There's a few drivers still haven't yet to set times. We'll actually go ahead and switch our focus to said drivers who have yet to set a time. So we'll just go ahead and see how this works. Greedo is going to go ahead and make his way through Sector 1. It is a purple Sector 1, so he's at least at minimum improving. The timer is out. Jackal is currently done, so he won't be able to improve on his last time. Kumar is actually up into third. Not for long, as Husey will take that from him, but it is a McLaren 1-3 right now. Liam jumps up into fourth. Another Div 6 driver with a pretty impressive time. And what about Greedo? Is Greedo going to be in a spot? Actually, I just realized Greedo is invalidated. So Greedo is not going to go ahead and improve. But what about Dutch Verstappen? What about the championship leader? Wintercat's up in the fourth. So Dutch Verstappen, championship leader. Is he going to get out qualified by the Div 6 championship leader once again? He's got a handful of corners left to go here. He's going to go ahead and give it a go. Are we going to see Dutch Verstappen getting out qualified by Jackal once again? He's going to go ahead and try to burn every bit of battery. He's going to come to the line. Oh no, it's only good enough for third. It's only good enough for third for Dutch Verstappen. So once again, the Div 5 championship leader is out qualified by the Div 6 one. Unprecedented stuff here in Division 5 here tonight. Jackal will lead from Aardvark to Dutch Verstappen to Husey, Wintercat, Liam, Kumar, and DNV. Bender and Greedo, who was unable to set a lap time. And yes, Dante, I mean, that just sums it up. A Div 6 driver setting Div 5 pole. That is insane to see. But here's the thing, though. Qualifying is about getting that perfect lap, right? But we have 29 laps to get through here tonight. So we'll see if he can go ahead and keep it up through those 29 laps. But we also have to kind of think back to Div 2 where Watanabe had a pretty good qualifying, but ultimately just kind of lost out in turn 1 and or lap 1 and was just never able to really recover from it. So anything can happen here in racing, especially in the land down under. It's always going to be a tough time around this circuit. It doesn't play nice. There's grass, there's walls, all of them willing to take you out, just like 99% of the Australian wildlife is ready to take you out. I mean, through some of the lawn mowing incidents, we probably already ran over like 700 spiders or something like that. So we will see how this works, and hopefully nobody will get taken out in lap 1. That would be very, very, very unfortunate, but we'll just see how this plays out. It is going to be round number 15 of the championship with 3 to go after this. But here we go. We see those 5 red lights coming up on the gantry, and it is lights out, and away we go here in Australia. And it is going to be already chaos here as Greedo gets a really bad start off the line. And we're going to see these drivers going to make their way through the Alpina Wintergate, getting a bit snappy. As Greedo's already making his way up through the field. He has already done a very, very good job. And oh, look at this. The two Williams are off track. That is Nishka and Liam going off track there. So something happened between the teammates. And contact between them. So why? Oh, Liam is getting into the wall there. Almost took somebody out there too. So we are seeing some dramatic scenes in the opening laps here of this Australian TV. The two Williams teammates are touching. The two teammates are having contact. And now Donut Gorilla is going to have to try to get past Liam. Liam is just, I mean, he's been involved in a few touch and go moments here. And he's lucky that it has been only touch and go. So we're seeing a good amount of drama here in the back. Jackal and Aardvark are going to continue to do battle up here at the front. They've already broken away from Dutch Verstappen, who's going to be under pressure from Husey now. As Husey is going to try to close in the gap, and they're going to go ahead and try to fight it. I mean, it's going to be a battle here as Dutch Verstappen is out of DRS range, so you will have to kind of look in his rearview mirror quite a bit as DRS has been enabled this lap. And it'll be really interesting to see how these top four really sort themselves out. Because Verstappen is going to be trying to defend against Husey, which will allow Jackal and Aardvark to continue to kind of run away with this one. So we'll just kind of have to see how this one goes between these guys. Aardvark is going to go ahead and close it in, or he's going to try to at least. Jackal a bit quicker through this part of the track, through the opening stages of Sector 2. And now, here comes the DRS. Are we going to see Aardvark going ahead and making a move for the lead? Nope. Just ran out of room. That door will go ahead and stay closed for now. And he's going to have to wait to give it another go. Taking a quick look at the tires here to go ahead and start. Everybody with the exception of Daz, Donut, and Minmit on the medium tires. And in Div 2, we saw these mediums go right around lap 10 is around the rough guesstimate of where these tires actually started to really have their massive fall off. So, and then it'll be a bit later. I think it's around like lap 19 or so, about for the hard tires. So, pretty good stint. And we'll just have to see how these drivers kind of manage to stint here. So, and here's the thing. If you're Aardvark, you really don't want to be stuck behind too long because you don't want to really burn up those tires, because being in the dirty air does hurt your tires quite substantially. So you definitely want to try to minimize the tire wear, especially because you're on those medium compounded tires. So it'll be tricky, as now he's going to go to burn the DRS, burn a good amount of the battery. Is he going to try to make a move on the inside? Nope, he thinks better of it. He knows that there's still a good amount of racing to go. You're only on lap 3, not 3 laps to go. So he knows that you don't need to make any massive heroics here at this stage, as it looks like maybe there might be a bit of drama. There is a caution in at the back end of Sector 2. Let's try to see about the cause of that. I think it might have just been somebody going off track, and it's Lobster going deep off the track. He'll rejoin, and Minman will have to try to get around. And that is insane. And then this track just tends to breed drama, and we saw it in qualifying, and now we're seeing it here in the Grand Prix, as these guys are going to go ahead and continue to fight it out here. The Aston Martin going to go and try to close in to the back of Minmay, just like Aardvark's trying to do here with Jackal. I don't think we're going to see any spicy moves from Aardvark, at least not at this stage of the race, because he's probably thinking about the tires and thinking about the strategy. His engineer's also probably in his ear telling him, like, hey, just kind of hang tight and wait for the perfect opportunity, because otherwise you're just going to burn your tires out and potentially get into an accident. So it wouldn't be ideal there for Aardvark, so I think his idea is actually pretty solid, just kind of waiting it out, waiting for his turn, waiting for his moment to go ahead and get a clean pass, and then he'll be set to go. And here it goes. Here comes the opportunity. Going to go deep into the corner. He's got DRS. And he'll have DRS yet again coming up here pretty shortly. So he's really close now. So I think he will get this pass done on the start finish straight. So he's going to go ahead and try now. I think Jacko's just been getting a bit better off of the exit of turn 16 there. The last corner of the track. Aardvark able to close in the gap ever so slightly, but he just hasn't been able to actually make the move stick. Checking in with the other Alpine of Witchaketi, he's going to try to close the gap himself to the hard charging Red Bull of Greedo, who's already moved up several positions from where we started this race. And yeah, it's been a pretty good race for quite a few drivers up and down this field. Some drivers have had a bit of a rough start as we take a look at the positional changes. Greedo has moved up 5 positions, Quiet Case moves up 6, and then Liam has dropped down 11 positions. So those are your 2 biggest movers in the positive direction, and then a mover in the wrong direction going backwards. So once again, this will be a very chaotic and very interesting Grand Prix. We'll just kind of see how this one plays out. It's going to be tough. Husey gets to move up the inside, and he's into the gravel, so that's going to allow Greedo to go and get a move done. So Greedo's going to go ahead and get past. He'll take advantage of it, and Dutch Verstappen will be free from Husey, at least for now. But now he's got a Red Bull problem of Greedo. And these guys are championship rivals, so they're definitely not going to make it easy for each other. These guys are going to go ahead and just absolutely give it their all here. As Greedo is going to try to go ahead and close in to Dutch Verstappen, trying to not let him get out of DRS range, because Dutch Verstappen's already about 2 seconds out of DRS range from Aardvark. So, I mean, Aardvark's another driver that we kind of have to commend too, because he has been working with Jacko here to really just pull away from the Alpine. So very interesting stuff here in this race tonight. So Jacko is still doing very, very solid here. He does have Aardvark for company though, and Aardvark's going to try to go in and close in once again, but he's just got to be careful not to just burn out those tires too much, because I mean, if you burn out those tires too much, then you're going to be in a rough spot coming towards the end of this stint, which actually these drivers are already kind of approaching the end of the stint. It's going to be around lap 9 to 11, maybe 12 at the most is going to be the stint on this tire. And then for the hard tires, you're probably going to want to go about, you're probably going to want to try to go about 18, or between like 16 and 17, maybe 18 laps on that tire. So we will just have to see. The engineers have their strategies all cooked up. I know I mentioned that rain is sometimes a factor at the Australian GP. I could say with almost a 99.9% of accuracy. Hang on, let me just stick my hand out of my virtual window here to kind of feel the air and the temperature in virtual Melbourne. And it looks like there's going to be no rain in sight. So this will be dry all the way to the end. Checking back through the field here, another driver who's made a very, very strong recovery drive here is Gorilla, who's also up 7 positions on the day. So he's been in a pretty good spot here. He's now trying to chase down the Sauber of Daz, who's trying to get a move on the Bender. They're going to have to go ahead and do a checkup, and just for the fight for the lead. And just out of these guys, we just barely missed it. Aardvark did get the move done onto Jacko, and that's going to be absolutely perfect for the pit stop cycle, as now Jacko is going to try to close back in. This is going to be a tough one. He's not really using the battery though, just using the rear wing, and he's already caught up back to the Alpine. So we will see if he's going to go ahead and use some battery to try to close in the gap and try to see if he can go for it. He goes a bit deep though, coming into turn 3, so a little bit deep there for the McLaren. And I think Aardvark is on a pretty good move here. Once again, just double checking the tires are both on the same set of medium compound tires, those yellow wall tires. Kind of the 50-50 in the slick Pirelli range. Because you have the hard, the durable tire with less grip, the soft tires with a ton of grip but less durability, and then you got the medium that's pretty much right there in the middle. So Jackal's going to try to use those medium tires for all that they're worth to try to get back past Aardvark and try to retake the position. And these guys are going to absolutely continue to fight it out on track. I mean, here's the thing though too is, I mean, maybe Jackal might want to consider an undercut here. We will see. Or you can even maybe try to do like a dummy cut and act like you're about to go into the pits and then just come back out on track. It's tricky to do it safely, of course, but I mean, it is doable, but doing it within proper regulations is always going to be a difficult one. These guys will continue to do battle here on the streets of Albert Park. And we are seeing, once again, some good hard racing here. So, once again, pit stop cycles are expected to start here pretty soon. Probably going to be no later than lap 12. We're going to see these tires go ahead and really fall off here, as Jacko is going to get really close now to the back of Aardvark, and these guys are really going to go ahead and just try to fight it out tooth and nail. And he's going to go ahead and have the follow. He's going to think about the outside for Jackal. And Jackal's going to try to stick it on the outside. Can he make it stick? Contact, and a bit of a snap there from Jackal due to the contact. And the answer is a resounding no in terms of can he get that move done. The move was attempted, but ooh, I don't know about that one. I think that might just get flagged as a racing incident and nothing more. Grado now pretty much right on the back of Jos Verstappen, the two championship protagonists in P1 and P2 in this championship here in Div 5. They're going to continue to go at it. And once again, strategy is going to play another really important factor here because, I mean, the undercut can be pretty strong here. So we'll just have to see who pulls the trigger first and makes the pit stop. I mean, dipping a wheel into the grass isn't really going to help your case. But here's another thing too is Jackal's already pretty much caught back up into DRS range of Aardvark. So the two animals, I believe they're both part of the mammal category, I think. I have to look into that, but regardless, the two animals, which you probably could find in Australia, to be honest. You could probably find an Aardvark and a Jackal in Australia, no doubt. So it's Battle of the Wildlife here in Div 5, including the current Division 6 championship leader of Jackal. So he's reserving up a div here tonight, and for 2 times in a row he has actually out-qualified the Division 5 championship leader. So that's crazy how that one works. Aardvark will go in and make the first call. Into the pit he goes. And it was going to swap on to the hard compound tire. On about, he came in right at the end of lap 10. It's lap 11 now, so he'll definitely be going to the end of the race on this compound unless a safety car does come out. So if safety car does come out, then he might try to throw on either another set of mediums or maybe even try a set of softs. Although I think all the softs will probably have some kind of wear on them. And honestly, softs are probably not the recommended tire for this. So we'll just have to see. Donut Gorilla up ahead is now trying to put pressure onto Daz. So these guys are going to go ahead and duke it out. Iraq Lobster gets a 3-second time penalty for track limit violations. We'll take a look at this one, and he's retired into the pits. So Aston Martin, the sole Aston Martin representative here in Div 5 tonight, has retired from the session. So he is out of this one. We'll check in with Liam as he's trying to chase down Aardvark. And this could be interesting in terms of just placement for these drivers, because if Liam if Liam manages to get past Aardvark here, then holds him up, it's going to give Jackal a pretty good time here. As Jackal's into the pits now, he's going to go and swap the tire. Will he come out ahead of Aardvark? We'll just have to see. Is he going to come out of Aardvark? Oh, that's a bit dicey there for the two McLaren teammates. Almost touching there right on the exit. But that's just the nature of that pit lane. It's a very difficult pit lane, a very narrow one at that. So you pretty much come right into the racing line essentially. So that pretty much just sums up what happened between the two McLarens. But they did fall actually pretty far behind Aardvark. However, there is a good chance that you can still catch him. We'll just have to see. I mean, the two McLarens are going to have to work together though, so. I mean, I think Symphonic still needs to pit. Yeah, Symphonic still needs to make a pit stop, so I mean, that's going to at least clear up a gap. But the undercut from Aardvark worked out very nicely. But once again, everything is still possible. I mean, it just really just takes one safety car to really just throw this whole thing into disarray. And Jackal is going to try to go to close in as Dutch Verstappen now makes his pit stop. So that leaves the two Haas's, the only drivers on the mediums who have yet to make a pit stop here in today's race. So here we go. We're going to see some positions being swapped around here, but still a pretty solid gap here between Jackal and Aardvark. The undercut once again working wonders for the Alpine. But then again, it just takes a safety car to really just throw this whole thing into chaos, really. We are seeing some fantastic racing here, some pretty close battles, some thrills and some spills here tonight. And now here's where the catch-up really starts happening here, as Husey is trying to close into the back of Symphonic and try to get past, but Symphonic might not even let him on through, which could be pretty detrimental. He will go ahead and let him through, but the thing is that Jackal is the one that really is in a tricky spot here, because he needs to try to go after Aardvark and also pass his teammates. So we'll just kind of have to see how the rest of the race plays out. But the undercut so far really working out for Aardvark here, as we do see Symphonic into the pits, and now Jackal's actually out of DRS range from his teammates, so that's going to be a bit of a doozy for him there, as the drivers still continue to do some fantastic laps around this track. Aardvark right now is essentially net race lead, as the two cars ahead still need to make a pit stop to get off of their existing tires, because you do have to run two separate compounds here in Formula 1, as Liam will go in and join Bender in the penalty corner. 3 seconds for his trouble on track. And now Aardvark is on the brand new tires, trying to catch up to these guys who have yet to pit, who started on the hard tire. So yeah, just here we go. Here's just another look at the tire data. But, I mean, it's going to be... I mean, it's not impossible for Jackal to catch back up to Aardvark, but it's going to be pretty difficult, I reckon. Pretty difficult, I reckon. We're going to actually go and do a quick onboard lap with... Actually, we'll do it with Aardvark, as Aardvark makes his way through the track. Be sure to go and get hydrated, guys. And because, remember, these drivers will not be performing to the top of the game if they were dehydrated. I know sometimes Monster may taste good, Red Bull, Celsius, insert your drink of choice, but be sure to go ahead and get some water in there. That is the body's favorite drink, because it is all natural and it keeps everything running smoothly. And hey, the primary sponsor of Alpine is Better Water Technology, so well, I guess we'll call this the BWT Hot Lap here with Aardvark. We'll be... Hang on. Okay, that got cleared up. So we'll go ahead and jump back in around this exact same time on the next lap. But for now, enjoy the Renault engine because in 2026, it won't be around. We'll be back. I hope you guys did enjoy the little bit of Renault engine noise, as once again 2026 unfortunately will not be around as engine suppliers, which is a bit sad because I was honestly kind of hoping they would make engines so they could kind of get redemption for the kind of iffy powertrain that they have this time around. And actually, Aardvark did get past Donut Gorilla, and Donut Gorilla did get a 3-second time penalty for his trouble, so Aardvark is continuing to put gaps in between himself and Jackal, but Jackal's actually closed in that gap quite substantially here, so this could be a really difficult one, because we do know that it's only not much of a difference between the tire life here. It's about one lap, but one lap could make a world of difference here, so Jackal's going to go in and try to close in to Donut Gorilla. He's going to get DRS as well. Aardvark has now put another car in between himself and Jackal. Jackal right about 3 seconds behind Aardvark here as it sits. And Daz has fallen out of DRS range. But worst case scenario now for Jackal is if both Donut and... Donut's in the pits! Does he get DRS from this though? Is the question. He will get DRS from that. And Daz is in the pits as well. But for a good portion of the rest of the track, Jackal will not be getting DRS. Incredible stuff here. I think this one is just really just going to be a catch-up battle essentially. Can Jackal catch back up to Aardvark? We know the undercut can be pretty strong here in Rush Racing League, but I mean it has worked out wonders for Aardvark in the early stages. Greedo now gets a 3-second time penalty for track limit violation, so that's going to put him in a bit of a dangerous spot compared to his championship rival of Dutch Verstappen. So Greedo kind of in a tumultuous spot here as we get ready to go, as we're almost about 10 laps, or almost having 10 laps to go here, as Wintercat is now trying to chase down Greedo here. He will get that P4 position even with Penn, so Wintercat's going to try to close in. He doesn't want to have to rely on strictly the penalties, but he wants to go ahead and get this done on his own. So we'll see if Wintercat can manage to pull away here, or try to pull up to Greedo. Greedo wanting to pull away here and just kind of head off to Spain essentially and try to get out of this fight. But the Alpine will have DRS. Wintercat's going to close on in, and he will definitely close that gap up, but just a bit too much real estate in between these guys for now. Winter is now still trying to close in to the back of Garrido. NDMV gets a 3-second time penalty, and we're seeing these penalties kind of starting to add up here, with Husey on 6 seconds of time penalty, so that's a very unfortunate one there for him. But we will just have to see who can capitalize on these guys having penalties, and I think honestly probably the correct answer might just be Wildcat. He's going to think about it. Oh, he had to really back out of that one. Wintercat really had to back out for that, because otherwise that would have been a collision, and that could have been a safety car. Right now, Alpine is looking very poised to take P2 in the Constructors' Championship away from Ferrari if the race finishes as it is right now. Aardvark leading the field here. He's got still about 2 seconds of a gap here as we continue to spectate his teammate of Wintercat, who's subbing in for what I believe is his first time since Mexico back in round number 5. So good to see him back. And for context, we're on round number 15 of the season, so yeah, that's a pretty difficult one to say the least. And now side by side, we got battle here, side by side, Garrido and Wintercat. Duke and now both going off the track there. I mean, that could result in track limit penalties if these guys just aren't careful. This has invited Dutch Verstappen to the party, though. Dutch Verstappen is pretty much right back there, ready to give it a go as we are down to the final 10 laps of the race here in Melbourne. Round number 15 is only 10 laps to go in it before it is all said and done. Dutch Verstappen now is watching this with eager anticipation as Wintercat and Garrido are definitely going to do battle here, and these guys are going to absolutely try to fight it out. Going side by side again, trying to force Garrido a bit wide, but Wintercat will have to just kind of hang tight. He's gonna, oh, a little bit of a touch there between himself and Garrido up ahead, and that might allow Dutch Verstappen to even think about a move as well. So he's gonna, Dutch Verstappen's gonna go ahead and turn on the DRS, and it's a double DRS train coming down into turn number 1. So far, so good. And this is, once again, a very spectacular fight here. About 10 laps to go in the race. So it's going to be a absolute fight to the end here. These guys are going to give it their all and leave nothing to chance. We're seeing Wintercat get so close to the back of Garrido that it is intense. A yellow flag got cleared up pretty quickly, so no safety car, but I mean, a safety car would just absolutely change this race on its head. And now we're seeing into the chicane. Through goes Wintercat. He's making sure that Garrido feels a bit of frostbite as he gets that move done and dusted. The Wintercat absolutely in full effect here. I mean, I think it is officially winter time now, so I mean, maybe that's where Winter is getting his buff. But nevertheless, it is Wintercat up into P4 now. He's got a good amount of a ways away to try to catch Husey, but Husey's kind of in a bit of a no man's land by himself. He's about 3 seconds behind his teammate, and he's got 5 seconds ahead of Wildcat, so... Or Wintercat, I don't know why I keep calling him Wildcat. Because there is a Wildcat that races in NA, so maybe that's where my brain is trying to register that name from. But anyways, Wintercat doing a fantastic job here. Dutch Verstappen and Garrido now are going to go and do battle on track. The first and second in the Drivers' Championship for these two at the moment, and these guys are going to absolutely give no quarter here. It's going to be full-on battle, full-on racing as these guys make their way through Sector 2. And this will be Dutch Verstappen's best chance to close in the gap substantially. You'll be too far back to make a move. I mean, I think even if you shot a dive ball, I think you'd barely be even able to get to Garrido before he made the corner. But Dutch Verstappen going to go ahead and try to close into the back of Greedo. Greedo himself is actually kind of caught up to Wintercat. So Wintercat, Greedo, and Dutch Verstappen are all going to continue fighting here. Aardvark has actually really started to pull away here from Jackal. So Aardvark is looking on track to get a win here tonight in Melbourne. And I mean, Jackal's just not been able to catch up here on the second stint. The hard tires just seemingly not agreeing with him here. As these guys are going to absolutely just try to duke it out. Trying to make everything happen here. And I mean, you know that this race is definitely going to be a tough one for some of these guys. And you know for a fact that these guys are going to give it their all. They're going to try to make it tough for their opponents as well. And Guido gets more time penalties. So he's got 6 seconds of penalties now. Joining Husey in the 6-second penalty range. So both those guys will drop a little bit. Actually, if Wintercat can actually make up about another second or so, actually a bit less than that, he just needs to make about another half a second, he could get a podium here, so it could be a double Alpine podium. And also, not to mention, Dutch Verstappen and the co are probably not going to be too far behind. If these guys keep battling like this, Wintercat's actually broken DRS range from Greedo and Verstappen, so this is pretty much just going to be a straight fight for those two for the last spot in the top 5. And actually, somebody else who's coming to play, Donut Gorilla coming to play here. He might even have a shot, because I mean, although Donut does have a 3-second time pen for track limits earlier on, as we are down to the final 5 laps of racing here at Australia, these guys are going to absolutely give it the roll. They're going to go ahead and give it the best effort that they can. They're going to give it the best of them, and we'll see how they can see if their best is going to be good enough. So we'll just kind of have to see how these guys kind of navigate. Quiet Cake now trying to have a bit of a recovery drive for himself, but hang on. His teammate is just getting past Greedo here, and Greedo has to go to the runoff. Donut gets past, and what happened there? So that is a safety car, actually. So I'm not sure what happened to cause the safety car. I'm gonna flip through the cars here. Yeah, I don't know what caused the safety. So here we go. Safety car already making this race that was already pretty chaotic, even more chaotic. This is going to allow Jackal all the breathing room in the world to catch back up here. So this is going to be a definitely chaotic restart. For those of you watching in the Twitch chat, this will be a good time for you guys to go ahead and stretch out a bit. And, now, okay, I've talked with Husey on a few occasions, and he's a pretty chill lad. But, I just have to ask. I just have to ask, how do you get a penalty under a safety car for track limits? Husey is a cool dude, but I still gotta ask him how that happened. Maybe it was a weird track limit issue, and maybe it can get removed by the stewards. But yeah, we'll go ahead and take a look at the tires again. This is a really interesting one. I mean, we're gonna get going here, and it might even just be 2 laps to go when we get back racing here. So Oh, look at this now. It's really starting to get interesting. Jackal is staying out. Dutch is staying out. Hughesy's on softs. Winter's on softs. Donut, Aardvark, Daz, Nishka, Quiet, and Minmap on softs. So this is going to be a really difficult one. Yeah, I mean, it's a strategy call, right? The engineers are giving them the calls here. So I think Jackal, I think Dutch Verstappen is going to have a really strong go at Jackal here. The Div 5 championship leader is going to try to get them moved on onto the Div 6 one. And going to be absolutely insane work. But it's going to be really hard to kind of defend from the guys who are going to be on that soft tire. So, and this field is going to be rightfully all bunched up here. So we will see when the safety car comes in, and we'll see how chaotic this restart's going to be. It'll be interesting to see if these soft tires could actually work. It's really difficult too. I mean, the engineers have a better sense of this kind of thing than I do, but I mean, the soft tire is going to be quicker off the launch, but considering how many cars are on that soft tire and how many people you got to try to kind of claw through, it's going to be difficult for the soft runners to really make up ground, because there's a good chance they're just going to be tripping over each other, trying to go in and catch up to Dutch and Jackal. So I'm really curious to see how this restart's going to go. So it'll be likely lap 28, so we'll get 2 more laps of racing action, and only one of which will have DRS. So it's going to be an absolutely fast and furious restart to the finish. So once again, hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day here so far. It's been a pretty fun time here in Australia over the course of the week. We had some good races in Division 2 and some pretty good ones. I heard some good things about the one in Div 4. And then we have some more racing action coming up throughout the week. We have Div 6 racing tomorrow, and then it is Div 3, I believe, up next. And then it'll be, I think, Formula 2 again. NA will be on their season finale, I believe, coming up. That'll be taking place in Jeddah for a 100% race, which you might be seeing some Vietnam flashbacks if you're one of the OCE drivers who competed in our season opener, which was a 100% race around Jeddah. Safety car is in this lap. The announcement came across a bit earlier on, and then it's going to be 2 laps of racing here, 1 lap without DRS, and another lap with it. So it's going to be all up to Jackal. Can he defend from Dutch Verstappen, who's definitely going to be a very close rival for him? Interestingly enough, we do have a 10-second penalty for Symphonic, who collided with Daz there, so that's a bit of a weird one. I guess he got checked up there, but you gotta go ahead and give it your all here, leave nothing to chance, and we are back racing here in Australia for the final 2 laps of the race. Dutch Verstappen looking one way, looking another, but so far just doesn't have the real estate to make the move just yet. Hughesy's already trying to make moves on that soft tire. He's got so much more grip than these older hard tires. He's shaping up for any kind of move here, as we're going to see side-by-side action between Aardvark and Donut. And Donut sticks it, so Donut will stay in a P5, Aardvark in P6. Now things will get swapped around when the penalties hit, but yeah, this is going to be a really difficult one. As for driver of the day, even though he does have penalties, I'm going to probably give it to Donut. He's made it up 13 positions. He'll lose some of them, but I mean, for someone who has been in a pretty tricky spot and he's going to go side by side, it's going to be difficult work for these guys to go on through. They're still side by side. It is going to be dangerous racing here coming through Donut Gorilla's trying to fight it, trying to go ahead and keep it to where it's like 12 positions roughly. And this is going to be a beautiful scrap between the two. Deep on the inside, and that's a move for Donut Gorilla. Absolutely perfect. And now Greedo is right there, right behind, and what a battle this is going to be. Final lap of the race now. The soft tire gamble didn't quite work the way that they would have wanted it to. At least for some drivers, but Dutch Verstappen has fallen way back through the field, and now he's under a lot of pressure. Jackal was able to hold off, and Husey now, will Husey race his teammate? Has there been any kind of papaya rules enabled for these two? Because these guys are going to absolutely go at it if given the green light. But if there's some sort of papaya rules enabled, then they'll just have to kind of drive in formation just to come home. So we're going to put a poll in real quick between Donut Gorilla and Jackal for driver of the day. And Husey actually does go ahead and get ahead. I mean, this is just going to be... And actually, this one's really going to come down between Winter and Jackal. So, did Husey potentially give Wintercat the advantage here? And we will see another caution, some accidents happening in the back. But we're going to keep our attention right here. As coming across the line now. Husey will take the checkered flag first, but who's going to win this one? Jackal will win the Australian Grand Prix, and look at these cars just all coming to the line. Actually, I think my driver today is going to be Wintercat because he got a podium in his first race back since Mexico. So, what a chaotic end to the race here for today. That is absolutely crazy stuff here at the end of this race, but I mean, absolutely astonishing. And another astonishing win here for Jackal, winning in a Div 5 race as a Div 6 driver. I mean, that was a very well-earned drive, and it looks like the chat is mostly in agreement that Jackal should be driver today. So I think we can say that, I mean, my personal pick is still going to be Wintercat, but I think we'll also just go ahead and give it to... We'll go ahead and confirm it as Jackal, considering that he is a Div 6 driver winning a Div 5 race. So we'll just go ahead and see how everything is shaped up here at the end. I know there's a good amount of penalties. Jackal will take the fastest lap. David will get the cleanest driver award. And the in-game driver today is Donut Gorilla. So we're going to run through our final results here. Jackal will take the win, followed by Wintercat, Dutch Verstappen, Aardvark, Donut Gorilla, Daz, Nishka, Husey, Minmet, Greedo, Kumar, David, and DNV, and then Bender, Quiet Cake, Liam, Symphonic, and our only retirement of the race of Iraq Lobster. We're going to go ahead and transition this one over to the interview. So if I could have our top three in the comms box. We're going to go ahead and get started with our interviews. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and see if we can get these guys lined up for some interviews. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and try to put some requests in to get some interviews rolling here pretty shortly. Alright, there we go. The request has been put in for interviews. I don't know if we have any of those drivers in currently, but we will see. Alright, we do have one driver currently in, and it is our P3 driver, so we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, so Dutch Verstappen, congratulations on the podium. So what was the idea between just kind of sticking it out on that hard set of tires right there at the end when the safety car came out?
Yes, yeah, because I didn't have any new tires, and I would take the track position because I know it was only 2 laps racing and 1 lap at the DRS. It's, yeah, stick outside, and I think that was the best choice. Yeah, pretty happy with my results. Yeah, it got very well. Nice behind Greedo, and just stick behind. Just be patient and save some tire wear because my heart was pretty okay at the end, I have to say. Yeah, I came late in, lap 13. Yeah, I had some tire left. I think that was a good choice to stay outside and yeah, come back on the podium.
Indeed, yeah, it's awesome to see you back on the podium. I know it's been a tricky couple of weeks for you in recent times, but
Mm, yeah.
taking a look ahead at the rest of the season, it is Spain, Canada, and China. Next up is Spain. How confident are you going into the circuit at Barcelona, Catalunya? Do you think it's a track you'll do good at, or is it going to be there's going to be some work done?
No, oh, work definitely every week needs some work done. That's for sure. But Spain, yeah, I'm okay with Spain. It's not one of my worst tracks. Not the best one. I would say it's all like middle. But yeah, just get the points in and then see what the end of the season brings.
All right. Last question before I go ahead and let you go here for tonight. Is there anyone you'd like to give a special thanks or shout out to here tonight?
Yeah, my teammates, absolutely. Keiki, he's the whole season is amazing. When he knows that he didn't gonna win the championship anymore, then we really worked as a team. Really unfortunate for him today with the last 2 laps. He got kicked out again, and yeah, some drivers have really need to be careful, especially when you got a few seconds penalty. And then some drivers just jump in every corner and try to kick out. I was nearly kicked out as well. The donut is he had to be 3 seconds. I don't understand why people do that, and it should be said. You should be fair. And I know that it's all about overtaking, and but if you have 3 seconds penalty, why you want to take the risk, to kick someone out? It's not necessary. That's not what I drive it, but some people, yeah, they do, and they risk everything. They have nothing to lose, But it should be fair racing. You should be use your head, your brain, and that's that's all I want to say. But special thank, yeah, absolutely, and Keiki. Hopefully we can win the constructors, and that would be awesome.
Indeed. I mean, right now you guys are on a really good track to getting at least one of those titles. Both titles are looking pretty probable here at this stage. But once again,
Yep.
congratulations on P3, and we'll see you in Spain.
Thank you, mate. Take it easy. Have a good night, everyone.
Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and just jump into our second interview of the night. And the driver who got a podium in his first race back with Rush Racing League since Mexico. Winter, how you doing today, mate?
I'm doing really fine. How you going?
I'm tired, but it was a pretty good race, so can't complain there. Were you expecting a podium on your return here? Because this was your first race since Mexico, hasn't it?
Yes. I was not expecting the podium. Me personally, I was expecting at least to finish in the top 10. But obviously, really happy with the result. Obviously, that softs on that safety car obviously helped me get past Dutch Verstappen on that second to last lap. So yeah, I was so close to the win, but yeah, it was alright.
Indeed, yeah. So it's really good to see a driver make their return and actually get a really strong result out of it. Are you going to be around for the next couple of races? Because we have 3 races left to go on the calendar.
Well, at the end of the day, it's up to the team. Aardvark mostly. but I guess we'll have to wait and see till next week.
All right. Last question before we go ahead and let you go. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out here tonight?
I would love to shout out Team Alpine for an amazing experience of me being in the team, and I also would like to thank Aardvark, Mars, and Terrence for helping engineering tonight, and also being my teammate tonight.
Indeed. Well, once again, congratulations on the podium, and we might see you next week in
Thank you.
Barcelona.
Thank you, Wreckers. You have a good one.
You too. All right,
Cheers,
and last
Jackal.
but most certainly not least, it is the race winner of Jackal. So, Jackal, I mean, this has come to be a bit of a surprise, but also, I mean, in your last two race weekends here in Div 5 as the Division 6 championship leader, you managed to out-qualify the Div 5 championship leader. So, I know you're likely coming up to Div 5 next season. Do you think that this is good practice for potential next season?
Yeah, next season. Wow, funny. It's pretty close, isn't it? Yeah, hopefully it was better than this one.
Yeah, I mean, you've been putting in some pretty good performances here. I mean, you won a Div 5 race as the Division 6 championship leader, which is a very good feat in and of itself. So taking a look at the next couple of tracks, you have Barcelona, you have Canada, and then you have China. And now, are you still doing your Div 6 race tomorrow night? Because I think you had some really good practice here tonight.
Yeah, Div 6 is the real race. That's where all the quick guys are. I think Div 5 was just a practice. Just was battling with a pink traffic cone for a little bit there, but yeah, it was pretty easy. Can't wait for the real challenge.
Ooh, bold words there for the Div 6 champion. Last question before we go ahead and let you go. Is there anyone you'd like to give a special thanks or shout out here tonight?
Yeah, special thanks to my engineer, Jay Tuzi. You know, he's really put in the work in. He's like my little assistant. So yeah, shout out to Jay Bottlejob Tuzi. Now we're tied with Div 5 wins.
All right. Well, once again, congratulations on the win, and we'll see you. Well, we'll probably actually see you tomorrow in Div 6. So we'll see you then, and then we'll see you in Barcelona.
All right, thanks, bro.
Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to go to wrap things up here in Rush Racing League Division number 5, Australia round 15. It is a race that had a good amount of drama there right there at the end. It all came down to strategies and drivers making some audacious moves. And we're going to see that quite a bit here for the rest of the week. We still have Division 6 that is going to go ahead and race tomorrow. And then Div 3 will be racing on Wednesday. So 2 more divisions of high-speed racing action here around the streets of Albert Park here in Melbourne. I want to go ahead and give a special thank you to Sim Racing Center, SimLab, Pagny and Advanced Simulation, and AI369 for all your support here this season. And of course, how can I forget the amazing Twitch chat? You guys have been fantastic every single week, week in, week out, without fail. And I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. On behalf of Rush Racing League, my name is Patrick Coleman, aka Rekus, and I've been your host and commentator for tonight's Grand Prix. And we'll see you guys next time in Barcelona. Have a good night.